Can you see me better in this, by the way, before you start?
I've already started recording.
Damn it,
Welcome,
sorry.
everybody. Welcome to the ABitTooFar CryptoComic podcast. And yes, we can see you fine, Wolfie.
I'm sorry. I wanted to make sure.
Welcome, everybody. This will be the first upload that will be going to the ABitTooFar YouTube channel. So, yeah, awesome. I accidentally uploaded yesterday's episode up to my personal channel, so I was like, screw it, that's okay. So I went ahead and changed the profile before I even got started on this thing, make sure I didn't make that mistake again. So, welcome. It is obviously Christmas time. I have the stockings up. We have our nice warm hats on, and we are both working on our projects. What are you working on today, Wolfie?
Same thing I've been working on for the last few days. By drawing.
You're drawing. And this is a project that you're working on for everybody that's in your D&D group, correct?
Yep.
Could you tell us a bit about it?
Well, I'll actually show you since it's right here. Just gotta move things off. So for the first group, I don't know how well this looks. I should probably click on the thing. There we go.
We can lightly see it. There we go. Bring it closer. Bring it closer.
So the big person on the half, obviously, he's our DM or dungeon master. So he's in both. He DMs both games. So he's going to be half in the first group, which this is what it is so far. This first group.
Okay.
The other page is for second group. Just haven't done anything yet, so it's blank.
Outstanding. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you had said that you asked them who their favorite DC and Marvel characters are, or comic book characters?
Just Marvel.
Just Marvel. That's kind of biased.
Well, no, the reason is because Stan Lee had died recently, so it's in commemoration of him as well.
Outstanding. That is sad. You know, friggin', Stan Lee, the man was a legend. And it was sad to see him go. The first person who actually told me about it was actually a friend in Facebook who I used to work with. And I'm like, no, he didn't. Sure enough, I went looking on YouTube, on the internets, and sure enough, it was all over the place. It was a very sad moment. What was your favorite comic book character that he created or that he had a part of?
My favorite superhero of all times, no matter Marvel or DC, Spider-Man. Up next, Deadpool. Only because they're sassy motherfuckers, and I am sassy as shit. And sarcastic as fuck, too, so I'm...
Hey, you know what? Sarcasm is a wonderful, wonderful asset. And, when it comes to Marvel characters, I have to say that I am a big fan of Wolverine. I have to say I like Wolverine the most. I would be, because he's a badass. The guy's freaking just, lets his frustrations out and just goes to town on everybody, and you can't fucking kill him.
This is why you and I are related somewhat. Because then we annoy the crap out of each other like that.
I will say that Spider-Man is definitely one of the most compelling characters of all time. He is the most relatable to a majority of people, which is why he's such a big, giant fan favorite. Out of all of the Marvel characters, I do believe Spider-Man is actually the most popular because he is so relatable to so many people. And
it's because if you've realized, our generation, at least the generation I come from, we're all sarcastic as fuck and sassy as shit, so we don't even care anymore what the older generation says about us.
That's one of the reasons why I love Deadpool so much.
I know.
That they finally brought him to screen. It's just like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Ryan Reynolds does him justice.
Exactly. I think Ryan Reynolds has owned that character. Let's just face it here. There couldn't be a better Deadpool than Ryan Reynolds. And the fact that
the ending of the second one, it's fucking hilarious.
The ending of the second one is hilarious. Have you seen the deleted scenes?
Yes. Where he kills himself? Yes. Greatness.
Well, that wasn't the deleted scene. That was like a spoiler alert, post credit, like like end of the credits, bonus scene,
Oh, well, no, I've not seen the deleted. I don't own the movie. I only went to see the movie once.
Well, if you go on YouTube, you could. Some people have actually uploaded the deleted scenes, and one of them was when he's actually in the X Mansion and the Xavier Academy, and he's complaining about all the different stuff and whatnot. He's like, "Why the fuck is I don't remember the dialogue." And he's like, "How come we never have other characters in here?" And then behind him, you see, Beast Man. Not Beast Boy.
Beast Man.
Beast
or
Man.
Beast. Just Beast.
Just Beast, the blue guy.
Yeah, just Beast.
Professor
His name
Beast.
is just Beast. His name is just Beast.
And all a bunch of other, minor, Marvel, mutant characters, they're in class and whatnot, and Beast just like closes the door.
Why do I feel like I actually saw that in the movie?
Maybe
I feel like I've seen that one.
Maybe it was in the movie. I happened to just catch a couple different deleted scene movies, and that happened to be in there. Maybe they made a mistake. But another one is when he's actually talking about, he's talking with the two girls that were in the movie and Colossus, and they're in the dining area, the kitchen area, and he's making all of these, joking sexual references and whatnot. And it was just like, yeah, that needs to go.
Of course it does. Deadpool, though. It makes sense, though, why it's in there. Or it should be.
What do you think is going to be the future of Deadpool? Do you think they're going to have a Deadpool 3, or they're just going to jump straight into the X-Force? I mean, what is your hope?
My hope? I don't really care what they do. I mean, it's Deadpool. I could give two shits what they do. There is one that I keep seeing on, well, it's a Tumblr post put on Facebook. And it's one where it says, like, they want to see Deadpool get in with, like, Marvel, with the X-Men, and then, how he has to save that one fuck for the end of the, like, he has to say that one fuck only once. He cannot say it ever again in the movie because it's rated PG-13. I've seen this, and it's freaking hilarious, and I hope it actually does happen no matter where it's from. But it goes, like, he goes throughout the whole movie saving it up, and at the end of the movie, Wolverine says fuck. And then Deadpool's just like, I was gonna say that! That's all I hope for in that movie. That's the only line I hope for, is at the end of the movie, as he's saving it up to say his one fuck, Wolverine steals it. Just because Wolverine would.
It'd be like, Wayne, shut the fuck up.
No, yeah, he would. That's all I want. And then have Deadpool just go ballistic on him and be like, I was gonna say that! Except I was not gonna say myself!
It's like, I could just see Colossus like, hey, Deadpool, there are children present. Curb the language. It's like, and so he has to say
Deadpool's not gonna care. It's in the last movies.
Yeah, but if there's smaller kids around, he might, maybe. Cause I don't remember Deadpool having remember the Halloween special, and he had all these little kids. Did he say a lot of fucks in that little? Mm-mm. Exactly. They were little kids.
But I think that he wasn't supposed to. The only time I do remember him saying that was when he tweeted it. He had tweeted because when the first Deadpool came out, a lot of parents were so pissed off that it was rated R. And then they took their 8-year-old, 9-year-old kids to go watch this movie.
Like the dumbasses they are.
And then complained that the movie should be rated PG-13 so they can take their kids in and take out all the other stuff that makes it R. And Ryan Reynolds himself tweeted about this crisis or whatever the problem, and was like, if you're that parent who decided to take your 10 9-year-old kids to a movie rated R, you're a and he just starts ranting and saying like F-bombs, he just goes ballistic on them. He's like, you're the fucking idiot so don't fucking get pissed off if your kids learn how to do this and that because you took them to the fucking, and it was like, yeah. This is the only time he's ever ranted like that. Because I think in the second movie, they learn their lessons not to take their 13-year-old kids there.
Good.
Though they gave the freaking movie people so much crap. And it was like, it's not their fault. You're the one not paying attention to the fact that they wrote.
No, they saw the fact and they paid attention and they decided to opt otherwise.
But then to sit there and then blame them for it?
No, that was their own damn fault. They should have pre-screened the movie and then decided, before they decided to, spend all that fucking money taking like 3 kids of the fucking movies to see Deadpool make complete, asses out of everybody.
Honestly, I would not have even taken my kids because, it's rated R for a reason, people.
Exactly.
No one pay attention.
My first rated R movie was when I was 12 years old, and it was The Last of the Mohicans with Daniel Day-Lewis. And that was a terrific movie. The original score was just like on point, like the action scenes, the script, like everything about it was just amazing. Like I actually loved that movie so much. I bought the original score on CD so I could listen to it in my car. This is when my Cavalier was brand new and you were still, knee high to a grasshopper?
I'm still not that tall. I'm the tallest one female-wise on my mom's side. Since I'm 5'3" and my mom apparently was the tallest on her side, so she's only 5'1". I beat her by at least 2 inches.
Well, there you go.
But then you see my brothers, and there's no such thing as short.
Well, they're not 6 foot either.
Daniel's almost 6 foot.
Almost, but he's not yet.
He's close to it.
The
child is fucking huge, both in size and in height and weight compared to me.
Now, how much of that was built up when they were in high school, like football type stuff, wrestling, or anything, or is it just all after like during college?
Daniel just graduated high school.
That right. Kid is Daniel's the same age as Jacob. I just remembered that. I'm a bad uncle.
Actually, no, because Daniel got held back a year. I think you might remember this. Because Daniel got held back in first grade.
Oh, no, I don't remember that.
Oh, it was because of his dyslexia that he got held back because he couldn't read as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted him to get better at it before they moved him up.
Okay.
But, so that's why he's a year late. But no, Daniel followed Matt and I in the water polo thing for a while.
Which is actually a full body workout when you think about it.
Oh, it is. It's so fun. I miss it so much. Anyway, he also was in the Air Force JRTC thing they had in his high school, which I don't know if you knew this one either, but him and Ronald started that one in Beaumont High.
Oh, they started the ROTC program?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is awesome.
Beaumont High didn't have it. And then Ronald went over there, started it his junior year there.
Now, tell me about how 2 kids start the ROTC program.
Well, it helps when your mother is the assistant superintendent of that school district.
Makes sense. Or was.
And it did help that the building that she worked in was right next door to the high school. They just walk down the parking lot, and there you go. There's the building.
You don't have to search on it search for it on Google or do some maps or email somebody. It's just like, Mom.
Pretty much, but no, they talked about it during before Ronald went there, and then because my mom was working there and it was my senior year, my mom was like, "Hey, do you want to go to Beaumont?" And I told her no because I wanted to graduate over at West Valley.
Right.
Because I had started there and I had my friends, I had everyone, and I was in water polo with West Valley. To me, it felt like if I were to switch from Mustangs to Cougars, I was pretty much being a traitor to my own school that I liked. I've always wanted to graduate at West Valley. I did not want to graduate anywhere else. My parents tried to talk me into Hemet. They tried to talk me. I was like, no, I'm staying at West Valley.
They tried to make you go Bulldog?
Oh, I hate it. Kudos to my cousins going there, but I am not a preppy, snot-nosed, rich butt munch.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the demographic of most of Hemet. They don't exactly fit that category unless they live outside of Hemet.
No. That's the demographic of Hemet High. If you go by the demographics of the schools, Hemet High is more for the rich kids. The rich kids. The kids who think they're rich. And they're ran mainly by what, because how all of us saw it, it was mainly whites over there. In West Valley, it was mainly the Hispanics and the other minorities at the time. And then Hawkwitz opened my freshman year. Yeah, my freshman year. It opened then, and that's where mainly all the African Americans were at. But they dominated that school. You may have a little bit of everyone in each school, but it was a domination of demographics. In West Valley, it was mainly the Hispanic area. Because if you go over there, you'll see a lot more Hispanics than you'll African Americans or mainly whites. That's what we were going off of. Well, and those who were white and over there at Hemet High, they were the rich kids, especially since half their freaking teams beat us in everything, and they wouldn't try and actually teach you to play the game. They just beat the crap out of you for it.
So, based off of my understanding, when it comes to actually the school zones, the schools pretty much serve a surrounding area of the community, and basically the only people that go to that school are inside that community. So basically, the demographic that showed up in the school were of those who lived in those communities. So, as much as I hate our current school system. I would love to see them get rid of Common Core. That's for sure. But tell me why. What was it that? I know a lot of people aren't going to care about this, but what was it that your mom said to your brothers to get them to go to Beaumont? Like that's like a 35, 40-minute drive from where you guys were.
She actually didn't convince them or tell them anything. They wanted it. They wanted to go. She had proposed it because she went to all of us and asked if we all wanted to go.
Okay. Well, what was it about the school that was, saying, hey, this is why I want to go here?
Well, when Mom was working in Hemet, she was teacher, assistant principal, whatever she could get, and she was moving up the ladder. Well, in middle school, she was the principal, hence known as principal's kid. And I got to spend pretty much every year with her, going to school with her. She drove me to school. I went with her most mornings. I got to go home with her. So the boys were like, well, I want to spend time with Mom. Because that was our only time of spending time together, because Mom was always working. So those mornings we were driving was our only time to be us, really. And the boys didn't like the fact that as soon as I graduated or moved from 8th grade to 9th grade, she was not the principal anymore. It blamed me for that. And I was like, I'm not in charge of this, nor do I care where she goes next. Because I'm in high school now. I really don't care. Couldn't help it. But so I think there was a little bit of that into it. Of, they could go with Mom. They're closer to Mom. So if things were to go wrong, they have Mom. And then around that time, Ronald was driving anyway. So he could take them to school. And then, so like if, let's say, one of the two got out of practice early and the other one stayed later, they would talk to Mom and be like, hey, Mom, I got to leave early right after practice. Can you take so-and-so home? Because they're right next to each other. So right. It was kind of convenient. Or if someone was at, if they went for like an away game for something, whatever, and they didn't have a car to get back to because someone took the car home because they were still at school, whatever, they would, Mom would be like, yeah, sure, I'll wait till you guys get home, or till you get back, and then I'll take you home. So it was kind of a system right there.
Okay. No, so what I'm gathering is that it was mostly about family time.
Hmm.
Family time is obviously very important in our families,
Yes.
and but what about curriculum wise? Like, what was it about the school itself that drew them there? Like, was there a specific program or whatnot that was just you know offered there that wasn't offered anywhere else?
I think it was the fact that they started the Air Force JROTC there. Because, like I said, they were starting it, they thought about it in summer and they were talking about it. My mom was trying to get someone to lead it because Beaumont didn't have anything. They didn't have any JROTC, whether it be Navy, Marine, Army, Air Force. It didn't have anything. But Ronald and DJ were both interested in the Air Force. So they talked to mom. Mom talked to someone she knew. Next thing you know, they got a whole class ready to go. So then when the curriculum started the next school year, they had an extra club that the kids can join.
Now, who was running it? Was Ronald running it?
Pretty much. Ronald was the first commander after the adult for the class, but he was the main commander.
And how many people ended up joining that first year?
Um, I'd have to ask them, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, all right.
It also helps that the boys were in the Civil Air Patrol, CAP, in Hemet, and Ronald was also climbing the ranks in that. So he was pretty much a commander in two different places, but he became like the main commander, the first commander for Beaumont because he started it, and he was the oldest.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding. Now, true or false? Somebody in our family is actually learning how to program video games.
True.
Who is it?
Ronald. This kid has been in robotics from a charter school for middle school. This kid is just smart as fuck. This kid will literally take a freaking math class, get all the work done in class, and fall asleep. Just like I do. But child is fucking smarter than me. I know that. He is not the artistic one, though.
I believe the art goes to you, correct? And the brains, as far as software engineering or learning how to program stuff, definitely goes to him. That's something I haven't had any luck with.
Yeah, don't look at me for it. My mom's like, hey, you can code this for when you're done with your drawing. And I'm like, no. She's like, why not? It's pretty easy. And I'm like, do you know how to code? She's like, well, no. I'm like, then why should I learn how to code? Well, tell me what I should do. I'm not going to do it anyway. Yeah,
I will say that I played his the video game that he had for that project of his. I don't know if that's his final project or whatnot.
No, that was that's a project that he's doing for one of his classes.
That thing was fun.
I have yet to play it.
What?
I have yet to play it.
What?
I've been told everything so far of how it's like how far they're going, what they've got planned. In fact, I was even commissioned to try and start drawing for his class, like the characters and whatnot. It's got to be 8-bit. But because his artist that he had contacted before was not responding at first. But now he has and he is, so he's got him, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'm out. There's no point in having two different artists if you're going to get one already. And since that's the class, that's like the final for the class, I think, that they've been doing this whole time, was to make a game.
Now, my question is, and this would be totally awesome, is like, is the class requiring as part of the curriculum to not only develop a game and but also launch it, like set them up for success, like, hey, you know what, in this class, we're going to be learning not only how to build, but how to launch and actually, get this out there to the public so you can get feedback on how to make your stuff better for the next class or whatever future ventures you have.
I don't think so. From last he told me it was more for the class so that he can understand how to build it, how to make one. Because then I think this next summer he wants to try and actually intern for either here out in Hollywood with Blizzard or out in North Carolina with the team that made Doki Doki Literature.
I
Trust
have
me,
no idea.
do not play that game. That game is
Go to Blizzard. Go to Blizzard.
if anyone who's watching this has ever played Doki Doki Literature or have seen players like Game Grumps or Markiplier or Jacksepticeye, whomever you watch play that game, I feel bad for you. That game is creepy as shit.
Play that game and you will be dumber for it. No.
No. No, they literally scare you.
So it's supposed to be like a horror game?
It's like a horror game, but not at the same time.
Yeah, I'll be completely honest here. The last time I played a scary game was probably when I was about 10 or 11, and it was actually a Goosebumps game on the PC.
I should have you watch Game Grumps play PT.
Oh, yeah?
It's literally just going around in a circle in the same room, or the same hallway anyway, and it gets creepier every time you go through. One of the guys in the game actually freaks himself. Like, he fucking screams. He screams like a little girl. And I love this character. I love this person with all my heart. Like, he's just amazing. But he fucking hates scary video games.
I don't do scary. I'll do action. I'll do, suspense, but as far as scary,
I should also watch the one I was watching last night because I played Krampus and it's fucking hilarious and it scared the crap out of me. I got through like halfway of the second video. I was like, I'm done. Fucking done. That elf thing scared the crap out of me. I was like, nope.
The one person I know who's all about the scary movies and whatnot, that's Grillin' with Guns. Grillin' with Guns is all about, Halloween and scary movies. He actually works for Universal. So whenever he's like the manager of all the different projects that are going on surrounding the Halloween specifically is his passion right there. He wants to run the next haunted house, so, and he's always doing movie reviews for all these different horror flicks and Bollywood B movies. I shouldn't say Bollywood, but low budget indie films that are supposed to be scary. He'll do drunk reviews on those, and they're quite fun to watch sometimes. They're quite fun to watch. But no, me personally, I do not do scary, simply because when I was a kid, the nightmares that I would have watching something scary would just be too much, and I'm just like, you know what, not worth my time, not worth waking up in a dead cold sweat thinking somebody's going to kill me. It's just not worth it. I'd rather watch or play something, action based, like, Halo, Gears of War, Call of Duty, Destiny. I haven't even played Destiny yet. Well, no,
there,
not true. It's waiting for me downstairs.
I don't know if anything is news updated, but something new is probably updated.
Probably, and then we'll have to do another hour-long wait for an upload.
Well, it's a good thing I've got time today, so I can just put that on.
There you go. But yeah, as far as video games, I think that that was Ronald's first video game, correct? Mm-hmm. I think for his first video game, that was freaking badass. For his first go out there, and I think he certainly has a future doing video games. And if he ever decides to go video games on the blockchain, that would be fucking amazing, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I think right now it's just the one level.
But it gets
the level where you fight the boss. That's like the only part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Ian actually made it to the boss. I don't think.
No, Ronald didn't. At that point, he didn't have the boss, but he did make it to the end.
Okay, all right. I knew Ian had gotten farther than anybody else, and before that, your dad had the high score.
If anything, everyone got farther than Matt. Matt died in 2 seconds, so.
Even I got farther than Matt.
Matt literally started the game and ran into a block and died.
Yeah. this game sucks.
Pretty much what happened. With all the player. I'm going to share, if that is okay. Some
Yeah,
of the
go
art
ahead. Go for it.
I've got that I've actually finished, so that way they don't think I'm just an idiot and lying about my art.
No, we happened to see you hold up that big drawing, so they know you're not, full of it.
Oh, I know, but it's at least a full picture. One of the most recent drawings I've done.
Ooh, I'm liking the beast. I'm liking the beast.
It was funny. Most of this was all in marker.
Really?
Beast included.
It looks like it was done in crayon.
No.
Or pastels or something.
Mm-mm. It was all marker and colored pencils.
I like
the shading
it.
for Beast, though, was completely marker.
No way.
Mm-hmm. I literally just put the marker tip on a napkin and then just shaded it in there.
You put them. Oh, so you were doing it through the napkin?
Mm-hmm. Well, no, like I put it I mark. So for the tip of the marker, I put it on the napkin itself, and then shaded it like this. Just started washing it on or shading it onto Beast.
Oh, I got you. You're letting it bleed through the napkin.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. Never would have thought to use that technique. Very nice. Very nice.
I like it because then it also came out like that with the darker every now and then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely adds some texture to it. That's cool. That's cool.
Okay. I wanted to show another one that I really like. This one was done in Sharpie and nothing but dots.
Oh, the pointillism one? Have I seen this one yet?
I don't know. Have you
No,
seen
I have
my
not.
Jack
I have not
one?
seen your Jack Skellington.
This funny story with this one, though. It's cute, sad, at least to me, but it was definitely funny as fuck.
All right, so what is the story?
So in high school, we have to do the project, whatever. And for the first semester, we had to finish a pointillism project with paint.
Mm-hmm.
Or pretty much any medium, but I was using paint. And for this one, I was going to do this whole exact picture, but in paint. And I had gotten it drawn. I was already starting the pointillism. I think I got most of Jack's suit done and the hill. And I think I was just starting on the background.
Mm-hmm.
Someone stole my picture.
Oh.
Before I could finish it. And since it was already too late in the month, whatever, to even remake a new one, the teacher just gave me an A because she knew I was working on it. Because she doesn't know how it got stolen, and I didn't know who stole it. It was really irritating. And then months later, almost by the end of the year, the teacher was helping a special needs kid with organizing their binder and saw my picture. And she goes, "Oh, why do you have this?" And he's like, "Oh, I saw the character on TV, so I took it." And he erased my name on the back and put his name.
It's like, this isn't hers. This is mine now.
And the teacher was just like, "Sweetie, that's not yours." And so she took it back and gave it to me, and I was happy I got it back, and I couldn't be too mad because it was a special needs kid, and I have a soft spot for them. I cannot be mad at them for a lot of things. If it's intentionally to me where I get kicked in the knee, yes, I'm going to be a little slightly pissed, but I will still love that child. Most days.
Most days.
But at the time, I was like, I can't be mad at him because he saw the character, he liked it, obviously, and I couldn't stop him from I couldn't get myself too mad at him. I was slightly irritated because he took a yellow highlighter and highlighted Jack's face.
Oh.
So it wasn't just yellow. It was like that dark, weird color with it because of the black paint around it.
Okay.
So the black
how
part,
did you fix it?
I didn't fix it. This one I did all again. I did this completely differently, or on a different piece of paper, and did this one in Sharpie years later.
So what ended up happening to the original one? Did you let him keep it?
No. I think I threw that one away. That or I lost it in the years. I don't know where it's at now, but this is the most recent one I have that I redid in Sharpie.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This isn't done entirely in pointillism, correct?
No, it is.
Even the lines in the hand and around the head.
Mhm.
Every single. Okay, because those
Mm,
look like lines.
it's because I literally pointed like all the lines. I literally just sat there doing this
Like
in a
dot,
straight
dot,
line.
dot, 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 dot.
It's
Okay.
all done in pointillism.
Wow. That's very impressive. Pointillism is not one of the easier forms of art. I will say that. The one pointillism that I did, I think I spent about a month doing it, and I have it in my art portfolio thing somewhere. But that thing, it was an abstract, and my teacher ended up liking it so much that she put it in the art show, and the art show it got the attention of the the governor. So it was actually one of the art pieces that ended up at the governor's not mansion or estate, like the governor's building where he worked, down the hallway with all of the other art pieces um, from around the school. And the funny part is because it was an abstract, you couldn't tell which side was up. They actually had it hanging upside down at the governor's, building for over a year.
That's the best though. I mean, at least they couldn't tell.
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah. That was the the one first place one that I got. Everything else was like second place or honorable mention. I think my favorite self portrait was an honorable mention. And I had done that one in pencil, and then used the that white paper stylus thing to
Hmm.
blur the lines and whatnot. I'd basically used that to undo all of the lines for the entire piece. So there wasn't a hard line in it except for the eyes, you know. And you know, I had reverse, drawn my hair. Like I was like very brightly blonde back then. Well, growing up, I was growing up very tan skinned in the summer and bleach white freaking blonde hair. I mean, you think I was a Mexican kid that running around with that dyed his hair, you know. And as the fall and winter would come, my skin would lighten and my hair would darken. And it would just always back and forth throughout growing up. And now I don't spend a whole lot of time outside anymore, so it's brown and gray. it's peppering out. But I had to do the blonde. I had actually used an eraser to actually erase the lines to have them, show up. So that was a very fun one to do, and I've got that somewhere where I couldn't tell you. Probably in
I
storage.
there is one picture that I have done, and well, it was half of a picture that my teacher actually kept, and the other because I was working with another person. We were teamed up, we were partners, whatever. We had done another one together, so the teacher really liked what we did last time, so she wanted us to do another one, and she kept it herself.
Oh,
And I'm okay with it because it was pretty big. And I couldn't just take home my one piece. I wanted it both, but I couldn't just do that to the other person.
mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah, sure, the teacher can keep it. And the picture was the brain itself. And it was split in half. So like the left brain was all in black and white and gray. Because the
Okay.
left side is more of your logical thinking. That's where all your logic is, and it's just that's just what it is. That's your logic. That's your like, no, this is straightforward. This is what
Yeah.
it's doing.
Left is logic. It's your math base. It's your science base, and then right is the creative side.
And then the right brain, yes, was creative, and it had all these colors, pictures, yada yada. So I got that side. I had gotten the right side, which was kind of funny because with the brain, I'm left-handed, which is ran by the right side of my brain. So it explains why I'm a little bit more creative than most.
It means you're the only one in your right mind.
Most days. My mother is ambidextrous, so she can be both.
Okay. My dad is ambidextrous, but the reason he's ambidextrous is because he broke his left wrist when he was younger. So he had to learn how to write with his right hand. So now he can write with both.
According to my mother, something like that happened, or she was just born that way. But either way, she's ambidextrous, and I don't mess with her.
Oh, so we don't have a story about that.
I don't know that story. My mother tells me different things every time I talk to her, so I just tune out after every single 5 minutes.
I'll tell you the story as I remember it. Okay, so my dad, he grew up in the same home that I did. He would be all over whatnot, but they'd always go back to North Carolina at the family homestead, the 2-story white farmhouse, which is historically named Honeysuckle Glen. Anyway,
I've been there.
You have. You were just too young to remember.
I don't remember.
That's when you, as a little baby, would give kisses with with the whole gumless freaking.
It's okay. I'll continue remembering that I'm just honey.
Anyway,
that's my new name.
he's growing up, and they're out in the barn, and from what I remember, there used to be a rope hanging from the top of the barn, and they'd take the rope and they'd climb up and they'd go from in the loft area and swing from one side to the other. Okay, and they I might be confusing two different stories, but either way, what ended up happening was he went at the top of the loft, and when he jumped. No, the rope was a different story. They would jump into the hay bales on the bottom floor, like just piles and pile. Like you remember, raking leaves and then just jumping in the leaf pile. Okay, well, this was like a pile of hay, and there was one time that he jumped, and when he landed wrong, and he snapped his wrist, and so, he had to learn how to go to school and write with his right hand. So that was how he became ambidextrous.
It's really funny that you bring up raking leaves up and, jumping in them. I don't think you've realized, but we live in California.
That's true. There's not a whole lot of leaves out here.
Most of Southern California is a desert. In case you forgot. We live in Southern California. It's a desert. We don't believe in trees. We barely believe in water. Why we can't drive in it? Freak out every time. But anyway.
Dude.
We don't know what that means by raking leaves up and then just jumping in them.
It's like you don't know what it means.
We don't understand that reference. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was speaking of a childhood of most people that don't live in the West Coast.
Exactly. Get out of here.
Anyway.
My dog's still up there?
Diesel.
Because your dog's coming now. Ah, Bella.
Well, she can come up here.
Well, because I think Diesel's up in my room.
Is he up in your room?
I don't know. I left him up there.
Oh, Lord.
I left him in there when I was taking a shower. He decided to lay on my bed waiting for me. And I was like, okay, well, Mommy's going downstairs. And he gave me this look like, hi. I was like, yes, hi. And he's like, all right, cool. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm going downstairs by myself.
Hey, Bella, look.
Bella. Hi, Mamas. Bye.
Anyway.
Don't mind me with my dancing.
No. Other than drawing and painting, I found a lot of fun to actually work with clay. Do you have any memories of favorite pieces that you did when you were working with clay? I know you did because you took art classes. It had to be there.
Not in high school. I did it in college.
Oh yeah.
I took mainly just visual art. I didn't do clay because I only had 2 years of art class in high school. I didn't do 4. My parents wouldn't let me.
Right. Okay. Well,
Parents are very strict. But in college, I do remember doing some in sculpting, but I didn't get to stay in the class for very long.
I would love to hear why you didn't stay in the class for very long.
I was a very poor and broke student
Ah,
and had to pay for the clay itself. And I
yeah,
did
I
not.
remember doing that at San Jacinto.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's where it was at.
oh, we took the same clay class.
Did you have the same teacher too? I
I'm
hated
pretty
that
sure.
teacher.
I'm pretty sure.
Was it a female?
Yes, it was a female. I don't remember her
Was she
name though.
blonde? Like
I
ultra
don't recall.
blonde, almost
I know there
blonde?
was a blonde one, but there was also one that was a brunette. I think I had the brunette.
Okay, I had the
But heavy
blonde one
set.
and I couldn't stand that. Nope, never mind. Mine was the skinny blonde and I had her before for 2D. She and I are not friends. At least in my mind, we're not friends. I cannot stand her.
I will say I had a lot of fun in pottery class because we would have assignments to do certain things. Like we had to make a mask, we had to make a box. I actually made a mask that I wanted to create. I wanted to create something that was scary looking. That way I could put it on my wall, and anybody that walks into the house like, "What the fuck?" I think I walked into the wrong house.
I love how
Unfortunately,
you and I are the same. We hate watching anything horror-like, but we'll do anything horror-like. We'll make it. We'll be like, yeah, this is great. This will scare them. Yeah, we hate horror.
well, one of the things that I was really looking forward to actually doing was one of the final projects. And that was actually creating a box, like a treasure box sort of thing. And everybody else was doing these, clever, cool, basic, little boxes. I think the most creative one that I saw was actually round, like it looked like a drum, like an Indian drum. And you open the top of the drum, and inside you could have like different compartments or whatnot, and then put it back up. And on the very top there was a little tree trunk and a peace pipe tomahawk that had been put in. And I helped this person come up with the drawing design for the peace peace pipe tomahawk to put in the tree trunk. That was my most favorite art piece that somebody had made in my class. Now mine was going to be a flag carrier. Okay, I wanted to design a triangular flag box, and then inside the flag box it'd be like a second compartment. You could actually lift part of it out, and there would be like all the awards and everything like that underneath and whatnot. But the undertaking was so big, I really should have started it, mid-semester and not the final 3 weeks that we had, because it never got finished, never got fired, never got anything. I had gotten these really solid, like good solid sides going on, and the box and everything, and I had even gotten the inner layings of the pieces that would support the second layer, and it never got past that. I've ran out of time because I was trying to design a box that would be very sturdy. I wanted it to actually have serious function to it, because with it being that kind of box, not only would their flag be in it, but on the lid itself, I had designed a flag as well. And so it was just too much of an undertaking for what little time that I had left. But I will say, two of the projects that came out wonderful was I did a little I did a two-part. We were supposed to do a pot for one, and then we were supposed to do another creative, whatever the heck we wanted, on another one.
Mm-hmm.
What I ended up doing was making the two pieces to get to work together. Okay, so I made a little what looked like a cast iron pot with a lid, and I put a metal handle on it that I made out of like a coat hanger, and I wrapped around a wooden dowel to make the handle, and then bring the parts down and then looped them to fit through so you could hold it and move it and whatnot on a flame. But for the other piece, this was a serious undertaking. I created a rocket fuel stove, and basically it's a hole and an opening on the side with a layer in between. So you have airflow coming at the bottom, and on top of this part, you put your fuel, your kindling and your tinder and all that stuff, and then you let the fire go, and then it goes up a long shaft. And I had built this piece right here, and then around it, I built a log. So it looked like a log with a hole in it. And at the very top of the stump, I put 3 of those, like those plates, the cast iron things you put in the stove or move it around that actually hold the pot or whatnot. I built those onto the top. So it looked like a log by all means, except that you had a place to put your pot. And so I actually had done the bark by like crumpling newspaper and harder, coarser paper, and rolling it around the whole outside of this log, to make the bark. And then I cut, lines in it going down and whatnot. And after we had fired it up to kiln it and everything, it was then time to test it. And so I actually started a fire at school to test my stove. Like, you could smell the smoke, coming from somewhere. Nobody knew where, but it was a small controlled fire inside of my log, creating an actual stove that I actually then, grabbed water and put it in the pot that I had made and put the pot on top of it. And my teacher thought that was just like the coolest thing ever. And she, in San Jacinto, they have like that display case that's glass and everybody can see the artworks. She put them both in there at the same time, and it got a lot of eyeballs. I will say that. But somebody wanted to buy it, and I said no. I should have said yes and bought Bitcoin with it, though. I think Bitcoin was maybe $2 at the time. It's like, Jesus Christ, what the hell? Can't hear you.
I forgot I muted myself. My bad. Anyway, so the only thing I ever made in ceramics class was on accident.
You made something on accident?
I did, because she told us to make something that, just random. Just, all right, make it, see if it works, yada yada. I had actually accidentally made a Groot cup. I just randomly made it. I literally just was like, all right, clay. Oh no, she told us to make a cup or something like that.
What is a group cup?
Groot.
Oh,
it made it look like Groot.
Oh, okay.
Because I was trying to make a cup, because I was like, I want a cup. I don't know, just being weird, random, whatever. And it kind of worked, because then I actually made the cup. I had the faces and everything. Because everything else started cracking, and I was like, Groot. I'm gonna make a Groot. Fuck it. It kind of worked. I'm so mad because I don't have pictures anymore. My Dropbox, the first one I had, decided that it just wanted to delete itself for some fucking odd reason.
Aww.
So every picture I had for the last 6 years, maybe, is gone now. I now have a different Dropbox account, and I'm so irritated.
Yeah. When Dropbox first came out, I was just like, oh, okay, it's kind of cool. But I had a similar experience. That one of the things that I had dropped in there, just totally disappeared. I'm like, fuck this, never using it again.
Well, no, this happened recently. It just, I was signing in, and it wouldn't let me sign in. And I was like, what the fuck? So I was like, fine, I'll make an account with my Google Play or my Google, because I figured it had already done that. But then when I tried to sign in with my old account, it was like, sorry, this account doesn't exist anymore. And I was like, what? So I don't have any of my pictures from the last 6 years or so.
Ouch.
Slightly irritating.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Google Drive isn't much better, but it's, in my opinion, a simpler system. probably because I, when I gave up on Dropbox, I stopped learning about how to use it. I'm pretty sure. Maybe now, considering that John, the CEO of Yen.io, is all about Dropbox, as is Raven Sky. Raven Sky, the other artist in our major artist in the Crypto Nation. So.
Let's say I'm not a major artist. Don't count me in that. Don't count me in this. I'm out of it.
Well, I have had two artists on this podcast, you and Raven, and I will say that I count us as the artists of the Crypto Nation, even though you haven't quite you haven't quite dipped your toe into the waters yet. That's okay. I'm working on you. It's only a matter of time.
Don't say that.
Look, if somebody will pay for your art in Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency of your choosing, and you cash out, cash is cash. Money is money.
No one's bought a single piece of my art, so I would not know what that is.
Well, you are working on a blog, right? Will any of it be for sale, or just going to be a tutorial blog?
No, it's going to be for sale. It's just I have yet to make that blog. I either don't know if I'm going to use the one that I know of that requires me to use money, because you have yet to tell me what you were talking about, or someone had told you about how to make a free one, and I don't know how to make a free one. So until I know that one.
No. Yes, the
answer is no. Until I get those answers, the answer is no.
Let me get that to you today. I'm going to write a note right now so I don't forget. Free blog.
Because remember, you're texting me, you're like, oh, someone told me about it. I was like, that's cool. I have no time to sit there and do that. I think it was taking care of the kids for them.
Yeah. So, free blog for Wolfie. There's a sticky note right there. Okay, so.
Yeah.
So, when we're done with this podcast, I'll find that info and I'll send it to you. I think my boy Ninja Grassmaster hooked me up with that information, so I'll go ahead and send that to you. Yeah.
You didn't see that. Don't lie.
I didn't have to. It's recording.
It's fine. You didn't see it first, so it's fine. I'll tell you before you even watch it, though. It's kind of funny because I was like, well, before I get that yada yada, whatever, and then I muted myself to take a hit, and then I forgot that I had locked it and closed it, so then I was like, ah, damn it. Damn it. Like, no. And then I looked up and I was like, okay, cool, he didn't see me. I'm like, because if he did, he would have made fun of me right now.
I've noticed that a lot of us in the Crypto Nation are using vapes. I know for me personally, when I was actually in the military, I actually got started smoking as a social thing. It started off as a celebratory cigar. Hey, we made it back from Iraq. Let's celebrate. We had our celebratory cigar, and then that was the first one. And then after that, we came back from another deployment, and we didn't have cigars, so we got Dejarum black cloves. So we were smoking the clove, and I liked that better than the cigar. And so when Marines would call me up and say, "Hey, Doc, can you come pick me up?" I'm too drunk to drive. It'd be like freaking 3-4 o'clock in the morning. I have to drive all the way to San Diego to pick up my Marines, and then get them back to base in time for us to go to morning roll call and freaking PT. It's like physical training. Yes, you're gonna sweat out that hangover, buddy. Doc's gonna give you an IV before we go. And so I started. I recognized when I started, getting too tired. I'm like, okay, I got to stop at the gas station, do something, And I went inside. I got a soda, and I'm like, you know what? Let me get the Dejarum Blacks right there. And the soda, didn't last very long, and so then I lit up the clove and just that action that, and try and making sure I don't burn myself or get ash in the car or whatnot. That whole mental activity was keeping me awake. And so for me, smoking became a method to stay awake while driving, and then from there, it went into, me being an actual smoker. And so having the vapes has been phenomenal in keeping me from smoking. Um, now, I don't know this about you or whatnot, but did you ever smoke real cigarettes or anything?
No.
No. You just jumped straight into the vapes?
I actually did hookah. An ex got me into that. And I didn't mind hookah because my only thing was I didn't want to get addicted to the nicotine. Because I've never smoked and I didn't plan on ever smoking. Still kind of don't, obviously, but this is my replacement now in life. But after certain things in life, I didn't really have much to help me release my anxiety.
Your doggy's coming downstairs.
Diesel! Come here, Bubba! My baby boy! Yes, my baby boy. Where are you supposed to be, Bella? You leave my Bubba boy alone. Leave my doggy alone. Come here, Bubba.
For those of you watching, Bella is the alpha of the house, second to me. And she is very territorial when it comes to, critters. Nothing survives in my backyard. Not
Bubba.
Lizards, not birds, not, squirrels, nothing. We once had a Chihuahua come into our yard from next door.
You had a Chihuahua.
A Chihuahua invaded her territory, and she told that Chihuahua what's up. And there is a big, giant, gaping neck wound right there. And they ended up having to put the Chihuahua down at the veterinary clinic. And this is after we had already told the neighbors, hey, that chicken wire fence of yours that you're using to, keep the dogs from, going through we have these iron pole looking freaking fences so you can reach through. That's no bueno. Anyway, so they had chicken wire up and it was like, hey, you guys need to fix your chicken wire because it was on their side. And, they're like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. And we're like, you know what, just to, be safe, we'll put chicken wire up of our own on our side. And we did. But what ended up happening was they never fixed the chicken wire on their side. So the dog was able to get, the chicken wire was curled up and the dog was able to get underneath it on their side. And then it pushed through the chicken wire on my side and got into the yard. And that's, how that happened. So having a second dog in the house has been a adventure, having them in the same area, separated for the longest time, rotating who's inside and who's outside until they can both be in the house at the same time. So
you can thank nature for that one.
Yeah, it was wet and raining and storming one time.
She learned. No, come here.
Bella was outside.
Come here. I want to say hi. Let's say hi together. Let's say hi, Bubba.
Hey, Bubba.
Look. Who is it? Who is it?
Hi, buddy.
Hi, Bubba. Hi, Diesel. Yeah. It's like, what are you doing, Mom? I already see this face every day. Why am I saying hi to him on screen? What's wrong with you?
It's like, why is this important? He's upstairs.
What?
It's like, I can hear him.
Do you want to go outside? Is that why you're giving Mommy weird looks? Yes, he wants to go outside. I'll be right back.
Alrighty then. All right. So, hope you guys have been enjoying us talking about art and, school and ROTC and our dogs. Yes, it's been a nice, wonderful day. In the meantime, you guys can certainly check out Opportunity Rolls podcast. Am I correct? Opportunity Rolls?
It's Opportunity Roll, but yes.
Oh, Opportunity Roll. I'll have to correct yesterday's YouTube description.
Yeah. It's opportunity roll. We have a Facebook, a Twitter. We're on Podbean and Podbean, Podbean, and on iTunes.
There you go, folks. Go ahead and check them out if you're big D&D fans. All right.
I apparently am doing so well because we're now at 35 followers.
Oh,
That's last
outstanding.
I saw. I don't know about today.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe you'll get a few more after today's uploads. You know, who knows?
I'm actually checking right now to see how many we have.
Did it go down to 32?
That's why I like the app. Why must you tease me this way? So rude.
The suspense.
No, actually, we're at 35, and we have 1.7K downloads.
1.7 thousand downloads. Nice. Hey, you know what? For just starting, you guys are doing very well. You guys are obviously onto something. Anyways, Wolfie, thanks for being on the podcast. I appreciate it. I'm sure everybody else out there appreciates it. And everybody, you guys can check out my comics at ABitTooFar.com. You could also check and see previous episodes of the podcast on that website. So you don't have to go searching through the various different channels on YouTube that I've been uploading them. You can just go to one source, ABitTooFar.com, and you can catch up on the podcast as well as all of the different comics that I've been doing. I'm also on Instagram. I recently learned how to use the scroll feature for all these different, like you can upload multiple pictures. And I was like, hey, I could use the scroll feature to do different panel comics. So panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, and there's a joke. So
it's okay, Grandpa, we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. And where's my cane?
I don't know. You have a cane now? When did this happen?
Girl, I have had a cane for a while now, like a few years, ever since I was in martial arts, like when I was in Kung Fu, because in the more advanced forms of Kung Fu, you actually get to work with the cane. And I was just like, oh, that is awesome. So while I was waiting for my class to start or whatnot, I'd be watching everybody else, in their classes, where they're doing the sword, the staff, or the spear, the butterfly swords, or even the cane. And I'd be watching and paying attention, so I'd learn a few things. So, yeah, I do have one of those metal extendable canes because I find it lighter and more versatile. It might not have as much of a hook as the traditional martial arts cane, but I can still make it work.
I'll stick with daggers.
Yeah, they do daggers as well. I was watching a few of those as well.
My weapon of choice.
Well, you do play as a rogue on Dungeons and Dragons,
I may or may not be a rogue in real life. So
you may or may not be an assassin.
Okay, I'm not an assassin, sadly, but dreams are things. Dreams are greatness.
Something to work for. Something to work for.
That's why I play D&D, so I can assassinate people in there. So I get to live out my life as my stealing rogue.
Well, isn't that why people play any kind of video game, is so they can live outside the real world? They can be the most badass sniper in Call of Duty, or friggin',
yeah, but
drive around
I don't think they actually put those aspects into real life like I have, where I accidentally steal people's clothing that I still have. I may or may not steal my mom and my aunt's stuff sometimes, so I steal things. I am a rogue, guys. Don't be friends with me, apparently. I'll steal things without knowing it.
And on that note, guys, we're out of here. Remember to check out Opportunity Roll on Podbean and Facebook, and then ABitTooFar.com, ABitTooFar on Instagram, and the ABitTooFar YouTube channel. You guys have a great one. Peace out.